Picture this. You're out for dinner with your family, just a normal evening. Then, minutes later, you're lying dead in the car park. That's how the life of Craig "Truck" McIlquham, a longtime Hells Angels biker, came to a sudden and violent end. But who exactly was Craig McIlquham? And why would someone want him gone? In this video, we're digging into the story of one of Canada's most well-known outlaw bikers, his rise through the ranks, his connections to gambling and organized crime, and the mystery surrounding his murder. It's a story full of secrets, power, and a world most people never see. Let's get into it. Craig McIlquham wasn't always known as Truck. Back in the 90s, he was just another guy drawn into the world of outlaw bikers, a world that's tough, secretive, and often dangerous. The nickname Truck came later, a nod to his large build and the way he carried himself. Solid, steady, and impossible to ignore. He started off as a bodyguard for Walter Nurgit Stadnik, the national president of the Hells Angels in Canada. This was no small role. Being close to the top boss meant Craig was trusted, tough, and reliable. Qualities that earned him respect, but also put him under the spotlight. The Hells Angels themselves weren't some casual motorcycle club. They operated like a well-oiled machine, with strict rules and a tight hierarchy. To get in, you needed more than just a love of bikes. You had to prove your loyalty and toughness. For Craig, that meant years of proving himself, earning his patch, and climbing the ranks. Eventually, he became the president of the Niagara chapter, a significant position within the club. The Niagara region is important strategically. It's close to the US border and a hotspot for various activities, legal and otherwise. Craig's leadership there wasn't just about riding motorcycles. It was about managing people, power, and plenty of money. But Truck wasn't the kind of guy who sought the spotlight. He kept a low profile, staying mostly out of the media's glare while quietly expanding his influence. People who knew him described him as calm and controlled, the kind of man who let his actions speak louder than words. At the same time, Craig's role wasn't limited to just Ontario. He was known to be a key figure when it came to connecting Hells Angels chapters across Canada. That made him more than just a local leader. He was an important link in a national, even international chain. It's interesting because behind all the motorcycles and leather jackets, there was a very organized structure in place. The Hells Angels operated with precision, almost like a corporation, and Craig was part of that system. He handled not just the biker business, but also the more secretive dealings, stuff you won't hear about on the streets. This early period of Craig's life hints at something bigger. He wasn't just a biker who loved the open road. He was building something powerful. His reputation, his connections, and the respect he earned set the stage for what was to come. Yet, with power comes enemies, and with connections come risks. The higher you climb in this world, the more you attract attention. From rivals, the police, and even your own people. Craig "Truck" McIlquham's story was about more than just being a tough biker. It was about navigating a dangerous game where one wrong move could change everything. If you think being a Hells Angels leader is just about riding motorcycles and wearing patches, think again. For Craig McIlquham and others like him, it was about controlling a vast network of underground activities, money-making ventures that went far beyond the biker image most people have. One of the biggest areas connected to Craig was illegal gambling. Not the kind you'd find in a back alley with a dice game, but sophisticated international operations involving online sports betting websites. Some of these were even run offshore in places like the Caribbean, making it harder for authorities to trace. Back in 2019, there was a major police investigation called Project Hobart. It wasn't just a small bust. It was a massive effort targeting an alleged multi-million-dollar gambling ring tied to organized crime groups, including the Hells Angels. Craig's name popped up in that investigation, with authorities saying he was involved in running these sports betting sites. Even though charges against him were eventually dropped, the case revealed the scale and reach of the operations he was linked to. This side of the business wasn't just about making money. It was about control. Gambling operations bring in huge cash flows, and for groups like the Hells Angels, that money funds their other activities. It's a cycle that keeps the organization strong and dangerous. But illegal gambling isn't the only dark corner Craig was connected to. Over the years, the Hells Angels have been linked to a range of other criminal activities: drug trafficking, money laundering, and even more violent crimes. While there's no public evidence tying Craig directly to all of these, his high rank in the club meant he was close to many of these operations. Interestingly, Craig kept his personal life fairly private, especially considering the dangerous world he moved in. He wasn't flashing cash or showing off wealth. Instead, he focused on running things behind the scenes, building alliances, managing conflicts, and keeping the club's interests protected. But living in this world means constantly watching your back. The Hells Angels don't just have enemies outside the club. Internal power struggles are common. Leaders have been known to turn on each other when the stakes are high enough. Craig's position as a key emissary between chapters put him in the middle of complex relationships, not just within the Hells Angels, but with other criminal groups too. One such group is the Siderno Group, a Calabrian mafia faction based in Toronto, known for its own dangerous reputation. Connections between these organizations aren't always clear, but they share overlapping interests and rivalries. So, while Craig was a respected figure within the biker world, his life was tangled up in a web of alliances and rivalries. Every deal, every meeting, and every move could have consequences, sometimes deadly ones. Understanding this side of Craig's life helps explain why he wasn't just another biker. He was a player in a much bigger game, a game where power, money, and loyalty collide, often with violent results. On the evening of April 29, 2025, Craig "Truck" McIlquham was at the Mandarin restaurant in Burlington, Ontario. He was there with his family, enjoying a meal, something most of us do without a second thought. But for Craig, this ordinary moment would turn deadly in an instant. After dinner, as he stepped out into the parking lot, gunshots rang out. Craig was shot multiple times, right there in front of the restaurant. It was a brutal, targeted attack, and it left a community stunned. The police were quick to respond, and a major investigation was launched. They described the shooting as a planned hit, not a random act of violence. Witnesses reported seeing a gray Honda Civic with dark-tinted windows speeding away from the scene. The car had black alloy rims, a detail that seemed small but could be crucial in tracking down the suspects. Craig's death wasn't just a headline. It sent ripples through the underworld. When someone with his status is taken out, it's a clear message, but what that message was and who sent it remains part of the mystery. In the days following the murder, the community grappled with questions. Was this about turf wars? Was it revenge? Or was it something more personal? One thing is clear. Craig wasn't a stranger to danger. Over the years, there had been warnings and tensions. His involvement in high-stakes criminal enterprises, combined with his role in the Hells Angels, meant enemies were never far away. At the same time, the police investigation highlighted how difficult it is to crack cases like this. The world of organized crime thrives on secrecy and silence. People close to the victims don't talk easily, and witnesses often keep their distance. Yet, authorities were determined to find those responsible. The gray Honda Civic became a key lead, but so far, the suspects remained at large. Craig's murder also drew attention to the bigger picture of gang violence in Canada. It's a reminder that beneath the surface of peaceful cities, there are ongoing battles for power and control, battles that can explode into deadly violence at any moment. This tragic night marked the end of Craig's story, but it also opened a door into a hidden world many don't understand fully, a world of loyalty, betrayal, and danger, where every move can be life or death. Craig McIlquham's murder didn't happen in a vacuum. When someone that high up in the Hells Angels is taken out, there are usually plenty of reasons, and plenty of people who might benefit. One major possibility is internal conflict. The Hells Angels are known for their strict rules, but also for intense power struggles. Chapters sometimes clash, and even leaders can fall out. For Craig, who held a key position linking different chapters across Canada, it's not hard to imagine tensions bubbling under the surface. Some insiders suggest there may have been disagreements over money or control of illegal activities. After all, the kind of gambling operations Craig was tied to generate huge profits. And with money on the line, loyalties can shift quickly. Then there are rival groups. The Siderno Group, a powerful mafia faction based in Toronto, is one name that often comes up. They're well established in their own right, and the Hells Angels have a history of uneasy relationships with other crime syndicates. Rivalries can flare up over territory, business deals, or personal vendettas. Craig's connections weren't just local. His influence stretched across borders, and that kind of reach sometimes draws attention from international crime groups too. That means his murder might have been about more than just a simple dispute. It could involve larger power plays within the criminal underworld. Another theory looks at past events. Some of the people linked to Craig had been targeted or arrested in similar cases, suggesting a pattern of escalating violence and retaliation. In this world, no action goes unanswered for long. What makes these rivalries so dangerous is the code of silence. Those involved rarely cooperate with police, and many victims or witnesses stay quiet out of fear or loyalty. That secrecy keeps the cycle of violence going. For law enforcement, piecing together these motives is like solving a puzzle with half the pieces missing. But each clue, each connection, brings them a little closer to understanding why Craig Truck McIlquham's life ended the way it did. Behind the scenes, investigations are ongoing, and authorities continue to look into his relationships, business dealings, and recent activities. The hope is to uncover the truth, not just for Craig's family, but to disrupt the dangerous games played in the shadows. The murder of Craig Truck McIlquham didn't just shake the Hells Angels, it sent a jolt through the entire world of organized crime in Canada. When someone so deeply embedded in the network is taken out, it leaves a power vacuum that won't be filled quietly. In the days and weeks that followed, questions swirled. Who pulled the trigger? Was it an internal power grab within the Hells Angels? Or did one of the rival groups finally make their move? The truth is, no one knows for sure yet. Investigations continue, but the code of silence and fear surrounding these crimes makes it tough for police to get the full picture. What Craig's death makes clear is how dangerous and fragile this underworld really is. One moment, someone can be at the top of their game, respected and feared. The next, they can be gone in an instant. It's a constant reminder that loyalty in this world often comes with a price. His murder also shines a light on the dark side of the gambling operations and other illegal businesses tied to the Hells Angels. These activities don't just affect those involved, they ripple out, impacting communities through violence and corruption. For the family and friends left behind, the loss is deeply personal. Behind the tough biker image was a man with loved ones who now have to live with the consequences. It's a stark contrast to the world he operated in, showing that even the hardest lives have a human side. Looking ahead, Craig's death might lead to shifts in power, not just within the Hells Angels, but across other crime groups connected to him. These changes can bring more violence or possibly new alliances. Either way, it's clear that the story isn't over. While the police hunt for answers, the public is left to wonder. How many other stories like Craig's go unnoticed? How many lives are affected by this secret world hidden beneath everyday life? Craig Truck McIlquham's life was one of loyalty, power, and danger. His death is a harsh reminder of the price paid in that world. It's a story about a man who rose through the ranks, built a powerful network, and ultimately became a target in a game much bigger than himself. This isn't just a biker story. It's a look inside a dangerous world where trust is rare and every choice can be a matter of life or death.